GSTLSN.wix.com/1314. On Ustream.tv, channel/channel/JR, and only on the Greater STL Sports Network.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Blog on the Greater STL Sports Network. R. Bolsey here with you. You can tweet me at RBolseyJR. You can tweet the Greater STL Sports Network at Greater STLSN. Find us just about anywhere now. I haven't really been on the podcast thing, on loading it up on things. Best place to get it, look up Greater STL Sports Network. And the best place you can download it, you can watch us live there is gstlsn.wix.com/1314. Now I'm late. I really didn't give anybody a time when I wanted to do this. I honestly wanted to get this done a whole lot earlier. But high life. I'm just not in the mood. And maybe I shouldn't do the podcast of tonight. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe, it's not like people are waiting on me to do it. It's not like the biggest thing in the world for me to do this for anybody. But now I'm a grown man. I can admit to my faults. I can admit that 99.9% of my life is my fault. I just want people to admit to the 0.01% that could be attributed, not attributed to them, but I'm just looking for help every now and then. I threw it on Facebook earlier. I've had these certain people here and there. I wish I could talk to this guy. It's like, talk to the people in this guy, really. Not talk to this guy, but talk to the people in this guy sometimes. Because I just can't understand how a person or people in general can go through life and just, what I do doesn't affect anybody. And I think as a grown person, you can admit that, hey, I've done things that hurt other people, that effed up other people's shit. But I'm just down on life, and it would be great to have somebody to talk to in there, and that's why I miss certain people, And not all of them have died. Some of them are just aren't around anymore. Some of them are locked up. It's a part of life. And I might take it too far. I'm an emotional person. I'm going to sit here, and I'm a 30-year-old man. I can sit here and admit, I cry about things. I probably go at things the wrong way. But if you can't understand that as a grown person, then you're really not looking at yourself in the mirror. And it affects me to the point where I feel like I got to break down. To the point where I feel like I'd rather be some bum on the streets than be in a better position like I am now. It's just how I feel. And I usually don't do this stuff. Usually this podcast is a way for me to get it away from life. Tonight is kind of a way for me to get to my life. Because I've been done wrong. 2017 has not been a good year. 2016 wasn't a good year for me. And that's 99.9% my fault. It just affects me a little bit when people don't take it their faults, And I should have learned this is a dog eat dog world now. Shit out here has got to people to just ruin people's brains. And it affects me that what people are doing. Because I honestly feel bad for them. I feel bad I couldn't help. Now nobody feels like that way about me, and it ticks me the fuck off. And there's people there. There's people that help me. They know. And if they don't know, tag me. You're my Facebook friends most likely. Tag me and say, hey, what about me? And I'll tell you straight up, yes or no. But I've done so much and gotten so little return that now it's actually kind of getting to me. And I just wish that, like, at times that you had that right person in your life where you could talk to. And I probably did. And I put that person in the most fucked up situations I possibly could. And yet they were still there. That's real life shit right there. That's a real person right there. I mean, in situations that you wouldn't imagine that nobody should ever be put in, yet they were by my side 24/7, 100%, no doubt. And it affects me. I mean, this is one of them nights where I'm kind of sad that that person ain't around anymore. That I can't go and call that person and say, hey, man, I'm having a organ or whatever, and having an effed up day, and I just need some time. You tell me what I'm doing wrong, because you could probably help me a little bit. And I know a lot of you. I know there's a lot more people that feel that way, and they don't sit here and whine or complain or get on their podcast about sports and bitch about it. But I'm that kind of person. I like getting my feelings out there. You know, I don't really care what people think. I don't care if you think that I'm a 30-year-old bitch. If you don't like it, anytime, anywhere, we can talk about it. In whatever way you would like, we can sit here and we can do whatever. Sit here and argue about it. You could come at me and say, you could text in right now. 636-517-3660. 636-517-3660. And you can tell me about it. You can call in right now and talk about anything. You know, I'm not in the mood to talk to you about it, but I will. I mean, this is your show, people. And if you're that kind of person that needs some, I can be that person too. I'll sit here and listen. I mean, I have no problem trying to help people out. I really don't. But I'm almost at the point where I'm going to stop giving a fuck. And I haven't felt that way in a long time. And like the people that know me know that I've been weird, have a depressing state, I guess you would call it, here and there throughout my whole life. And it's whether it's warranted or not. Hey, it's me and I can admit it. But for people not to admit their faults and stuff like that, I mean, it just gets to me. And I don't want to be that guy that like puts those in your face, but sometimes I am that guy. And everybody can be that person at times where they're going to throw it back at you. And maybe I'm a cold-hearted person for doing it. Maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe I'm a fuck up. I can admit I'm a fuck up who fucks up that's fucked up. No doubt. And it's just drained me because, and people can blame it on whatever. They can blame it on drugs, alcohol, whatever. I've done the rehab thing. I've been here and there to try to fix it. Fuck, I've been homeless for a little bit. And we'll put the quotation marks on that because I had people to help me at that time. And I just don't get it sometimes, how the people that I've seen in these situations can use someone else's situation against them. Let's say some of the things they do or do some of the things they do and just be okay with it. I mean, some of the shit I do makes it hard for me to sleep at night. I have trouble sleeping in general. I always have. Unless I'm drunk, and then I can sleep for days. But I have much trouble with my faults as anybody in the world. I have much trouble with your faults, with anybody's faults, with friends' faults as anybody in the world. I mean, I'm a legitimately emotional person, whether it's your life or mine. I want to help people. And to be down and out like I am, and it's kind of like people just want to rub it in your face, and that's effed up, man. And you know, my top dog isn't around right now. My for real number one homie, girl, it's a girl. She's dead, and I can't change that. And people threw that in my face, like it was my fault. And I really took that to heart. It's not like I wanted it to happen. It's not like I had nothing to do with it. I was at work at the time. I still don't know what's going on to this day because people made me feel bad for the situation and put it to the point where I know, man, it's just a sad thing. And there's other things going on, and, you know, it made me not want to do the podcast. And that's what happened last time. Is I got down and out, and I stopped doing the podcast, and then I came back with it and did it a couple times, and it didn't break me away from the life that I wanted to break me from. And I'm kind of starting to figure out that you can't always break yourself away from life. And maybe I'm too old to be learning that now. But maybe I never wanted to learn it either. Maybe I thought that we were all the same. But to the people that helped me out and done everything, thank you. To the person I'm talking about, to die, fly high. To the people locked up, man, keep your head up. Hopefully things change. Hopefully you see this podcast and me sitting here telling you, hey, thanks, helps you out, or maybe this helps somebody out. Hey, I need to get it out, and I'm gonna find that person to get it out too. And maybe I'll find that person. I yeah, it's great to be free and do things you want, but sometimes you put yourself in situations for a reason. It's not always fun to be free and single. It's not always, in certain situations. I wish I kind of went back like maybe a year ago at the most. A couple months ago would be great and change things. But maybe I shouldn't have used this podcast at all times to break away from it. Maybe I should have put on this podcast to let people know, hey, this is how I feel, maybe people would know. Maybe sitting here and crying to myself about it isn't really the best way to go. And you're going to learn things as you go on in life. The older you get. And hey, all the shit I've done, was fun. At times, I think that when I was homeless, it was better than where it was now. No, and it's not. Probably not. But it's admit your faults, people. And if you need to get it out, get it out. Or you're going to be stuck in a situation you don't want to put yourself in because bad things happen. And I don't want bad things to happen to me or anybody around me. I got kids. I got a family. Me, my kids, my family. And maybe I just need to break out of my shell. Maybe things need to happen for me to feel better about it. But they're not. And hey, it's my fault. But I'm in the mood. So maybe this is a 30-minute podcast. Maybe this is an hour and a half long thing. I don't know. gstlsn.wix.com/1314. YouTube, Ustream, Google Play, SoundCloud, Blueberry. We're gonna figure out something with the SoundCloud thing to where, because hey, I can't afford to fund this podcast as much as I would like, and I can't put as much stuff out there for the users things. And the thing on the website's easy. Go to the website, you can download from there, you can watch this live. Pretty much anything you can do on these other things you can do from the website. So it's awesome stuff. I've updated the website a little bit. It looks 10 times better than it did. It doesn't look like some clown made it. It actually looks like I put some effort into it. And that's the things that makes me break away from life. And maybe this podcast shouldn't always be like that. But we'll talk some sports. And man, what about them Cardinals? You could come on and complain. I really don't like the whole people screenshotting the standings and saying, hey, we're in first place now. Well, we're only 3 games above 500. Plus, it's only 30 weeks into the season, or 30 games into the season. It's not understandable that people are so happy about this being 18 and 15, 19 and 14. It just doesn't seem like it's the best bet. But this team's starting to look better. Definitely offensive. And you get this guy from low A, and maybe I should. Usually when I talk bad about players, it seems like on this show, they start doing good. I was talking bad about bringing up a low A. What the hell is he going to do? Well, he's going to bat 400 and fly around the bases and score you runs that nobody else on this team could do. And then I talk good about Lance Lynn. He has an outing like he did tonight. Throws 100 pitches in 4 innings. Allows 4 runs. But this is like, it seems like since we've had Matheny, and really since 2011, this is like a no-give-up team. You look at the pitch hitting. Pitch hitters batting over 400 this year. Who would have expected that? Definitely with on your, like the only player that most people can name off the bench is Jerko and Adams. Jerko's had to play because Peralta's been out. You lost Piscotty. Fowler's only pitched hit once. Carpenter started off with a down year. Wong started off with a down year. Diaz hasn't been all that great. And all of a sudden, it's just starting to look up. And it's that never give up attitude. It's what's going to have to work for this team because you don't have the bullpen you thought you were going to have. The starting pitching that you thought you were going to have hasn't been all the way there. I mean, look, to recently Martinez was down. Lynn didn't look too good tonight, even though he's pitched well after coming off surgery, and Wainwright. You've had guys like Waka step up, like Mike Leake. You know, our 6-inning and done pitchers. But if this bullpen can turn around, what a difference that can make for this team. Definitely with Carpenter lighting up. You know, you knew guys like Richards going to be here and there, but Sierra playing well. Tommy Pham coming up and just being outstanding. I bitched about him too, and look what he did. So I'm just going to start. You know what? Never mind. I'm changing. Everybody on this team sucks. Everybody. And everybody in the bullpen's good. No, don't say that because they're not. They're not very good either. Starting pitching, all 5 of them suck. And then maybe we'll be 20 games from 500 than 30 games from now. But some of the things that you didn't expect have come around. And it's in a division where you're not planning, where you weren't planning on the teams playing, every team playing mediocre baseball. And the teams that are right under us, the Reds, didn't expect that. We were happy above the Reds tonight. And that's it. They had their whole pitching staff on the DL. The Pirates, who played well, but they've basically lost all their hitting. The Cubs are off and on, and that's mostly bullpen and has been starting pitching also. And look at Arrieta. Arrieta got his ass whooped in Colorado and hasn't pitched well in Colorado, but over the last 2 seasons he's pitched very good in general for the Cubs. What you thought was going to be one of them down years and fighting for a wild card spot could change. And you kind of need some excitement this time. Definitely with the Blues losing another year without football. If you don't pay attention to anything else, you're basically stuck with baseball. You just got to hope this bullpen comes around. I mean, Cecil looked halfway good tonight. And the bullpen did go out and allow a run or two. And you got to hope that stops somewhere. You've had O pitching well. You've had Rosenthal, even though you still won't use him, which is understandable. He's hurt. But it almost looks like a whole different team than you expected to start off. And it's of course, it's only the Cardinals could be like this. You know, it's every year. It just seems like it's up and down and it changes. You know, one year you think you're going to do this well, and you do that poorly, and and the defense is even starting to come around a little bit. Wong's finally starting to look like he's gained some confidence, and maybe that was all offense. Maybe that was all in his head and that was hurting his defense, but he's played exceptionally well in defense. Jericho hasn't looked bad at third. Diaz is iffy, and now you got this new speedy outfield with Pham and Sierra out there where you almost don't want guys like Peralta or Fowler or anybody else to come back. Now, when they come back, they're going to play. And you know what Scotty can do. Fowler's off and on, even though he got the game-winning hit the other night. But now it's almost looking like to the bench that you thought was going to be light. And I keep forgetting Eric Fryer. You can't even be down on him. You got to commend Eric Fryer for what he's done, definitely with Mike Leake. You thought that what was going to be low spots have been the high spots for the Cardinals. And the things that I started off complaining on this podcast at the beginning of the season are no longer to complain about except for the bullpen. And once you get past that middle relief, it's pretty much shut down city with Rosenthal and O. And you're hoping you pretty much know that a guy like Seagrass is going to come around. But you got other guys out there too. Sokoloa just pitched well. Tulialava with last 2 games back-to-back wins. It looks like a whole different team. And with the Cubs struggling, getting all their things together, and you hope that stays happening. Now it's probably not. Arrieta maybe could come around. Lackey's just getting old. Lester actually picked a guy off base the other night, but he hasn't. Starting pitcher you can come around and hitting. They got enough hitters where they're going to come around sooner or later. But you have a chance right now with them struggling to take over this division this early in the season. And, I just complained about people taking screenshots of the freaking being in first place after 30 games. But hey, let's run away with it. And I'm kind of tired of hearing about the Matheny being a crappy manager. The managers are not that big on anything except putting a lineup together. And really, at this point, it's not really that hard to put up a lineup together. Find a leadoff guy, and with the Cardinals, that's about it right now. They moved Diaz out of that second spot, and it's worked for him. Wong seems like wherever you put him now, 7th, 8th, 1st, it's working. So maybe it's a thought to maybe say, hey, it should be a lot more than players. And I know that people are going to say the guy in charge is going to be the guy. We can sit here and all be armchair quarterbacks and say, hey, well, I knew that Tommy Pham was going to play better than we wasted money on Dexter Fowler. Or look at the way that some of the pitchers are pitching down there in AAA. And you think they're going to be better than Brett Cecil. But you got to use what you got. And in the MLB these days, mostly in the National League, they're going to use that bullpen, and they're going to use some of these players up. But if you got a guy like Tulialava, you got a guy like Sokolovich, you got Lyons, who's going to make a start this week in AAA, you got a guy down there like Luke Weaver. You got another guy, I can't think of his name right now, but he was on the MLB pipeline, Flannery. You can switch these guys in and out. And this could look like a whole different thing. Players are getting injured. So you can use some of the guys and put them in situations to where it's going to bode well for your team. And the pipeline just keeps going for the Cardinals. I mean, you got to commend Mozeliak and all his cronies for what they've done with that AAA and AA and single A teams. I mean, look at Sierra from Class A up to the major leagues and just played well. Now, that's going to change. People are going to figure out how to pitch him. But that speed that he's got changes the whole game. And it's changed 2 games in a row. You see him tonight, first and third. And then the other night, they said that he went to first and third on that hit by Martinez in less than 10 seconds. Or right at 10 seconds. That's crazy. It might take me 10 seconds to get from first to second, to be honest with you. And that's being real. So for a guy like that to be, for speed to change, that speed that the Cardinals haven't had in a while. And they show a stat from, I think the guy was played in 1913. And you really haven't had speed like that since maybe Coleman. You haven't had a lot of players that go out there. That's a guy that once he learns how to steal bases and once he learns how to do things, that could be a Billy Hamilton type 50 base stealing type of player. A guy you can go out there and use for pitch running when a guy like maybe Adams go out there and get a hit and you need a run late in the game. I mean, at this point in the season where you were at, you were looking at pitchers that were going to do that job. Or Eric Fryer, who's maybe the fastest player on your bench with when Jerko was down there and Adams was there. That might have been your fastest player. Martinez, who's hurt also. And what's going to happen with him when he comes back? That's going to be a thing. Is when these players start coming back, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to take Jerko out for a Peralta? Or is he going to be your guys that can go in there, play a little outfield to get guys' days off? Spell Carpenter and Jerko, maybe Diaz here and there. I doubt they throw him in there at short. But Jerko could play short, so he spells Diaz. Peralta goes to third. I mean, you have things early in the season that has changed the complexity of this team. Big words, thank you very much. And now they're going to have to make decisions. Which you could say at times that Matheny hasn't been the best decision guy with things like that. But at this point, what can hurt this team? By bringing a guy like when Piscotty and Fowler come back, when Martinez comes back, when Peralta comes back. You're going to send Sierra down because he has options. I don't know where Fam's at on his options. Maybe should have looked that up. Didn't really think about it because I was in a mood. I mean, some of this is gonna come to who has options and who doesn't. It's gonna be also gonna come down to how many pitchers you want to use in that bullpen. Does a guy like Lyons coming up send other guys like a Tulialava or Sokolovich down? I mean, it's a lot to look at with this team. And with a team winning like there is, and being able to come back and being able to score runs and be able to hold leads, it's really something that any decision you make, maybe at this point, cannot go wrong. But we're early in the season, though. That's the biggest thing I think about.